In this short video, we'll discuss the recently found second clip confirming the flash in 32-134. We'll address the claim that this second clip supposedly excludes reflection. The flash is hard to see in real time. Now in slow motion. First, let's get the basics right. This is a gunshot, not an explosion. We know it because we can sync the flash to this specific shot in the cop's body cam video. The motion of the tarp on the left is most likely caused by the bullet flying overhead. Not only do we know it's a gunshot, we know who Paddock was targeting, either the cops, or the guys on the left yelling at the shooter. Also, the gunshot with the flash isn't any louder than other single shots that follow. It's actually quieter than two other shots. Contrary to various objections, reflection is not only plausible, but remains the most likely explanation. Here's why. In the recently found video, the flash is preceded by a frame with a tiny speck of light. This speck of light is in the corner of the flash, not in the center. If this was a muzzle flash, you'd expect the flash to start in the center and expand outward from there. What we see is more consistent with a reflection, where a rotating piece of glass first catches the reflected light in the corner, and then across the whole surface. Another clue is the bounce light cast by the flash on the building. Bounce light is the relatively weak light coming from objects which are themselves not light sources. It is often used in the film industry in the form of bounce boards, which are not light sources, but are used to brighten areas in the shadow. Notice the pattern of bounce light on the building. There's a large, orange area of bounce light to the left and bottom, and a much smaller, more white area at the top left. What is this pattern? What we probably see are the lights from the other wing of the building, reflected as a very blurry bounce light, with the light strips and large orange surface to the bottom left, and the smaller white sign to the upper left. Note that such bounce light requires a solid opaque object. A muzzle flash won't do this. If this was a muzzle flash coming out of the window, the light pattern we'd expect on the building would be a round gradient of light, decreasing in brightness away from the flash. This round pattern would extend beyond the light strip to the right, because that area is flush with the 32-134 window. We don't see such a pattern. The bounce light we see is only to the left of the flash, as if reflected by an opaque, mostly vertical surface. If this was a muzzle flash, not a reflection, Paddock's behavior afterwards would be inconsistent. The gunshot with the flash is between two other single shots, separated by 6 and 7 seconds gaps. Paddock seems to be shooting in a steady rhythm, which he doesn't break after the flash. Given that Paddock used either flash hiders or fired from behind the curtains to hide muzzle flashes, why would he simply continue shooting in the same rhythm if his weapon suddenly produced a big flash? The flash was too big for Paddock to have missed it. This is especially puzzling, since at this time Paddock is shooting at cops. The cops would probably not return fire, afraid they could hit other guests, but large flashes would allow cops to pinpoint his position, and possibly call in police snipers. If this is a reflection, there is no problem with Paddock's behavior, as he simply didn't see the reflection from the other side. A claim is made that the flash cannot be a reflection, because the angle between the two cell phone locations which captured the flash is 20 degrees. Let's get the numbers right. The angle is not 20, but about 9 degrees. Also, due to the law of reflection, the reflecting surface needs to rotate by only half of that, 4.5 degrees, to shift the reflection by 9 degrees. This 3D test shows possible orientations of a piece of glass in 32-134, which would be needed to cast the reflection of the hotel sign toward the two cell phone locations. Each color, red and blue, is linked to one location. As we can see, these orientations are closely interlaced. The cell phone videos were shot at 30 frames per second. A piece of glass would need to rotate just 4.5 degrees per frame for a reflection of the sign to be captured in both locations. This corresponds to 135 degrees per second. This is entirely possible for a piece of glass shot out by gunfire. There's no requirement of a single piece of glass either, as we can be seeing reflections from more than one piece. This photo shows the window remnants in 32-134. The remaining chunk consists of several pieces of glass held together by the film. Such flexibly connected pieces can have similar, but slightly different orientations. We're not saying that these specific pieces here reflected the light. There may have been other, larger pieces of glass elsewhere in the window when Paddock was shooting.